إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. I remain Ahmad Lawal, your host for the As-Sirat Podcast. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. With me today are three very esteemed guests. Our shuyukh in the house, I will allow them to introduce themselves, starting from Mallam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. My name is Olaniyan Kabir and I'm happy to be with you all today.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Abdulbasit Umar Balogun and I'm happy to be here today.
MashaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Aladodo Abdussalam by name, and it is a pleasure to be here with you.
MashaAllah. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a greater pleasure for me to have you all here because, you know, in our podcast, we usually do a one-on-one session. But today, we have 3 in 1. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit us with what we are going to say.
Ameen.
And may He benefit our listeners with what they are going to hear also. Our topic for today is contemporary issues and difficulties, according to my sheikh, facing the Muslim Ummah. And you will agree with me that this topic is a very interesting and very intriguing one at the same time. Because, you know, today, the Muslim Ummah will find ourselves in a conundrum. We have internal as well as external issues, internal as well as external pressures, internal as well as external difficulties. You know, there are some things that we have brought upon ourselves, majorly by deviating from the teachings of Allah and the commandments of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then there are some things that are brought from external forces because they want to dim the light of Islam. You know, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said that this religion is His religion. It's just like we were discussing with Mallam. It is a miracle that Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world today if we look at the way that Muslims carry the religion and if we look at the external pressure on the religion. So I would like you all to help us shed more light on, you know, how we can move ourselves forward as an ummah, how we can solve some of these difficulties, some of these problems that faces us individually and collectively. Mallam, what's your take on this issue?
Once again, assalamu alaikum everybody.
Alaikum
If you ask me, I think the first thing that I'll say is that we need to first identify the problem.
No.
What should I do? What should I not do? You know, because of the different talks from different maybe madhahib.
No.
So people are confused about what they should actually pick, and I think that is one of the issues that we have.
It's a major issue. It's a major issue. Mallam.
And then going to the social issues, I think society starts from the family.
Naam.
And then one of the issues we have today in the Muslim community is that marriages are failing exponentially. You see a marriage of 1 week, 2 weeks, and your sister comes out and says, this brother is beating me. And a month later, you come and say, the love is no more there. I think yesterday on the WhatsApp group, somebody sent a message and he said, a month after the nikah, the brother said she should leave the house. That the marriage, the love is no more there. But when you were cutting, when you met the sister, the love was there. And that apart, the brothers are failing at their responsibilities, the sisters are failing at their responsibilities, and then this is coming back to the children.
Naam.
Because at the end of the day, when the family is not stable, when the two pillars of the family, when they are struggling, the grass is, and when the elephants are fighting, the grass suffers. So when the father and the mother are not okay, the children will be at the receiving end.
Exactly.
And then also part of the issues we have is that the way we raise our children, we are raising them with maybe because we say we don't want to raise our children the way our parents raised us. No. Yes, that's okay. But now you are raising them in a way worse than the way your parents raised you. Too much laxity. No. We give children this too much freedom. Yeah. And this is also coming back to haunt us because if we see a problem and we don't see that a problem, then that thing comes back to bite us. Just like when you fail to to treat something at the beginning, then it becomes bigger and becomes so difficult for you to treat. So that is one of the societal issues that we are facing. Marriage in particular.
So we have religious issues, we have the social issues. MashaAllah. Mallam, what's your own angle to this?
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Thanks so much for the question. I think the most important thing first is to go back to the issue you raised at the beginning. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he made his Hajjatul Wada, the farewell pilgrimage, the only pilgrimage that he made during his lifetime, Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he was giving khutbah to the people at the Mount of Arafah, he made mention of something, amongst other things. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, and I have left for you two things. You are not going to get lost, so long as you stick to those two things. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said what? Kitab Allahi wa sunnati rasuli. The book of Allah, which is the Quran, and the Sunnah of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, my tradition, my sayings, my doings, my tacit approvals. So long as you stick to these things, you are not going to get
go
lost.
astray.
Now, I think the most fundamental issue that we have still goes back to the religious issues. Because when you see people doing something that is not right, it is either of two things. It is either they have no knowledge about the religion, why they are doing that thing. They don't know what the religion says about it. Or they have the knowledge, but they are not implementing it. Because when we look at the statement of the Prophet, so long as you hold dear to those things, it does not mean you only read them, it does not mean you only hear them, it means that you read, you hear, practice. And implement those things. It is just the way the Prophet said that, for example, when you want to call on Allah for your needs, Allah has 99 beautiful names. Then he said, Man ahsaha, whoever looks after these names, whoever implements these names while calling on Allah, whoever implements these names while carrying out their activities, their religious and their mundane activities, then they are going to enter paradise. So it is not enough for you to just be shouting Allah, Allah. It is what brings about you getting Jannah is you acting on you calling Allah's name. So you cannot say Allah is a Razak, is the one that provides for you, and you are still seeking provision from someone else. So I think this issue of religion is the basic, it's like one of the fundamental issues that we have. Now we have to understand the fact that this Islam, it is divine and defined as well. It is divine in the sense that the religion is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it is defined in the sense that it touches all aspects of our lives, whether the religious aspect or the mundane aspect.
Cultural.
Because Allah says in the Quran that we have not left anything untouched in the Quran. So it is important for us, whenever we are faced with any issue, to go back to the Quran and check where is the guidance for us. To go back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and check where is the guidance for us. And when you mentioned the issue of, a lot of people bringing in opinions, people giving different fatwas, that is also the issue. We are faced, one of the fundamental issues that I think we have, which goes back to the issue of religion, is we've been faced with a lot of social media celebrities, quote and unquote, in the form of afar. What they want is that publicity. What they want is that follower base. So they just
viral
say
content.
So they just say things, and when you go back to review the things they've said, you are not finding those things in the Quran. You are not finding them in the Sunnah of Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But they have the follower base, and even if you are trying to make corrections, those who are following them will say, "Do you know more than him?" Even if the person they are asking you if you know more than is not making any reference to the Quran or the Sunnah. So I think all these issues, we can go inside them and expound on them.
Unfortunately, we have limited time on this podcast, but we're going to try and do our best. There's one aspect that none of you talked about, which is the economic aspect. I think this aspect is very, very important. Because, you see, Yoruba people say, Okunu ni efingbe tita. And we know that in the time of the Sahaba, they had so much iman that they could go without food, they could go without provision for. But in our today's society, there is a lot of distractions. That if one does not have the economic capability or the capacity to be able to take care of their daily needs, and you come and you are telling them about Islam, they will just be looking at you that, Abba, say gbadun.
Okay, so if I'm going to start from that aspect, starting from myself, I think we have a lot of people who we consider to be the elderly ones, and they are the affairs that people do consult, and they will sit somewhere in the corner of their room and believe that their provision is coming to them. And we know there is an affair from Umar ibn Khattab, where Umar ibn Khattab said, Umar ibn Khattab entered the masjid, and he met some people in the masjid just sitting around and listening around. And he said, won't you go to the market? Just like your other friends and colleagues have gone to the market. They said Allah will provide for them. What did Umar say? Umar said, "As-sama'u la tumtiru dhahaba wala fidda." The sky that you are looking at does not rain gold or silver.
You have to go out
and also. Some people believe that since Allah is our Razak, they don't have to do anything. And that's one of the economic problems that we are facing. They think that, okay, Allah will provide, let us just sit and do nothing. And the Prophet ﷺ clearly said it, that as a Muslim, the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-mu'min al-qawi khayrun wa habbu ila Allahi min al-mu'min al-da'if. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He loves a Muslim that is what? That is stronger than a Muslim who is weaker. And how do we know a strong Muslim? The Prophet ﷺ continued by saying, Ihris ala ma yanfa'u. Whatever will benefit you, strive to get it. So if you want a Benz, for example, if you want a duplex, for example,
like my own G-Wagon,
if you want a G-Wagon, for example, you know there's something you have to do, and maybe you have to start a business, you have to work for someone, or you have to get something going in order to be able to earn
put one and one together.
So I think the first thing we need to clear up for the part of economic issues is letting people know that Islam
being
is not
a true Muslim does not mean you should be lazy.
Islam is not a religion of miracle. If you want something, you strive for it.
So before you go, it's unfortunate that majority of those who push this idea of sitting down and expecting your race to come as scholars. I don't want to mention any particular sect, but we know who they are. They are the one. Even if you see somebody saying a cleric or a sheikh, being a scholar does not mean you shouldn't have a source of income. They will come out and say, "What do you mean? I spent 9 years in Nilekeu, and in Azari. Now I started to come back and be looking for any job again. What are you saying? What I have is enough for me to eat. Whereas it is not a source of income.
So you
can monetize your knowledge in a way. But normally, if you want to teach people, you are going to be poor. You need to have another source of income.
Teachers' reward is in heaven.
It's in heaven. As you can see, we have teachers now today in different schools. How much are they earning? Can their salary even feed their family? No. So if you know you want to teach, make sure you have a side hustle. Even that side hustle, you want to be your main hustle. Teaching should be your side hustle now. Yes, because teaching today is not supposed to be a main hustle anymore.
This notion also, Mallam, I'll give you time to talk about this. That there is no priesthood in Islam.
Yes.
Nobody is ordained as a priest. I say, okay, if you want to wash dead body, go and meet this person. If you want to do, what we have are imams that pray 5 daily prayers for us. And then if we have a Dawlatul Islamiyah, we will have an Amir. But there is no priesthood that, okay, so person, they are the ones that are only allowed to carry out certain rituals. Anybody can do it. So the notion that we are the priests, you are the followers, that does not apply in Islam. Now, Mallam.
Okay. So coming from this angle that you just mentioned, you see, what I think is that there's nothing wrong in saying that somebody has gone to madrasa, he has gone to maybe Azhar or any of the universities, or even Nigeria,
or Jamiatul Islamiyah,
and then you say that I want to practice what I've learned. Many rich communities today that are conscious, even in Ramadan, we try to bring people from the north to come and start. They don't come here and do it for free. We pay them. So one thing that the Muslim community, unfortunately, they have, how do I put it? They rewarded those that went to madrasa with is by telling them that they are not going to give them something for what they have learned. So, for example, somebody brings a child, to your madrasa, and then you say, just be learning. You're not going to pay the ustad. So that's what exactly in normal schools.
But you come to Ilekeu, you will say
take
50
naira. The day that the ustaz has an opportunity to do walima, they want to collect everything. We must understand that. Another thing that when you look at when you look at the trend of Muslim schools, they are one of the poorest organizations that you can ever find. Many of them are in bad debt everywhere. Why? Because Muslims generally want to attach this poverty mindset to Islam. It's very unfortunate.
Very, very.
Meanwhile, while Islam wants us to have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ar-Razzaq, is Al-Wahhab, is going to gift us our money and all of that, Islam also encourages us to what? To work.
And show that we are affluent.
And that is why in the popular hadith, it says that لَوْ تَوَكَّلْتُمْ عَلَى اللَّهِ حَقَّ تَوَكُّلِهِ, that if you have that tawakkul in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you abundance of wealth. Just like I provided for the what? For the bed.
Birds.
Bed does not have any certificate, no BA, no PhD.
No
but
stop.
he goes out, comes in, belly is full, right? But at the same time,
the bird does not stay in the nest.
It doesn't stay there.
It
goes out.
You don't stay in your nest and you're expecting for things to come to you.
We must try our best and see that Allah is a Razak, fine.
No.
But that risk, you must do something. You must put 1 and 2 together. You must, go to school or learn a craft or something for you to be able to get something
and use it
in
your daily life. I think another issue is the issue of you have said. Let's amplify it, because in fact, I'm talking to the producers directly now. We need to have a special day that our topic is poverty in Islam. Because a lot of people if you see somebody who is knowledgeable or preaches Islam that is living affluently, you want to say, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Khuzu zinatukum masjid. You know, if I have a G-Wagon and I say, so that people will not say, I will use my left hand to drive it and wind down the glass.
let me quickly point it out. You see, it is just our mindset.
No.
Perhaps maybe those people have not also gone out of Nigeria.
No.
When you go to places where religion actually matter, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, all these countries, go and see the way their imams are living.
They live the largest.
So those ones, they have a provision for the scholars. Just maybe a few days ago, one of our Professor Lawal was saying that one of his friends came from Brunei, Dar es Salaam. And he said that every child who memorized Quran in Brunei today is going to get $1,000 from the government. That money is from the king of Brunei himself. In that way, in that kind of environment now, nobody's going to think that when you are a scholar, you are going to be poor. Because already the government is encouraging scholarship. Here, we do not even encourage scholarship. Those that are taking their time to also learn, we don't want to give them anything, right? But at the same time, too, it's not an excuse for somebody to say, let me sit down and expect. Today, alhamdulillah, we can also see many scholars, even those that used to do jalabi before. When they saw that the truth is coming, everybody has 1 or 2 businesses.
Which is very important.
It will assist them to even say the truth the more. So one way by which we can resolve this whole economic issue that Muslims face today is that Muslims must first change their mindset about money. Money is not going to come to you. You must do something to get money.
And money is not evil. It is what you do to get it that can either be good or evil.
There's something that needs to be mentioned as well, just about this issue of money and the poverty mindset. If we can all go back to the history of the Prophet, when he made the hijrah, some of the companions that made the hijrah with the Prophet, they gave them some conditions before they could leave Mecca. The kuffar of Mecca said, if you know you are going to leave for hijrah, it is either you leave without going to Medina with your wealth, or if you know you want to go with your wealth, you are not going anywhere. So some of them had to drop their wealth. Some of them could not even go with their wives and their children. They left them in Mecca and went to Medina like that. Part of those people was Abdurrahman bin Auf. So when Abdurrahman bin Auf got to Medina, he was a very wealthy and rich man in Mecca. But he left Mecca without anything, went to Medina like that. So when he got to Medina, the Prophet did something between the Muhajirin and the Ansar. He was making them brothers.
Pairing them
together.
Which is another thing we can learn today. Mentorship.
So Abdurrahman bin Auf, the Prophet paired him with Sa'd bin Rabi'ah. Sa'd bin Rabi'ah was actually a merchant in Medina too, very successful person. And Sa'd told Abdurrahman bin Auf that, okay, now that we are brothers, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to divide my wealth into 2. I'm going to give you part of it. I'm going to carry the rest. Look at all my wives. Any one of them that you desire, I will marry them to you. What did
Abdurrahman bin Auf and
marry her to you?
That's very important.
Yes. So what did Abdurrahman bin Auf told Sa'd? He told Sa'd that Dullani ila suk. I don't want you to give me your wealth. Tell me where the marketplace is. Teach me your business. I want to know it so that I'll be able to earn for myself. And I'll be able to also reach out to others as well. So we are not to be expecting that people should give us money. And when we finish spending it,
let's not forget the ending part of that hadith where Abdurrahman bin Auf said he got wealthy to an extent that he felt that if he were to lift a rock, he will find money
under it. Yes, exactly.
So that's to tell you that Muslims are enterprising. You are not a better Muslim if you live a poor life. In fact, in the time of the Prophet some Sahaba came to him and said that Zahaba al-Dusur bil-Ujur. The people who are wealthy, they carry all the reward and go. Because what?
They are paying.
We pray, they pray. Then from their wealth, they still carry and still give. Now, they have the one that is constant. They not carry the one that we don't have. They still carry. They still give us. They still get reward. So one of the easiest, because I see there's, part of the lecture that used to be very common in the Muslim world then was that the scholars would say, every kobo you make, you must account for it. It's difficult for a poor man to enter paradise. These are not.
The misconception about the hadith is that the fact that he made the money and the money is huge. Yes, it will take time before he can account for it.
But as long as it's
halal, he's going to enter Jannah.
Yeah, mashallah.
The issue about the companions of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and their poverty, that was before they started to conquer lands. When they began to conquer lands and the empire started to expand, they became wealthy. An example is Abu Hurairah. Abu Hurairah, when Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was alive, he was poor. Like he would say that sometimes he would be so hungry that he would lie on the ground so that the soft, the cold floor to make his stomach cool. But when the Prophet ﷺ died and he became a governor of a particular place, he became so wealthy. Abu Hurairah. And then many other companions, like Anas bin Malik, he was so rich that he was saying in the hadith that when they were in Medina, that they don't usually sit on a chair, but now he sits on a chair.
So let's not aggrandize poverty, please.
Yes, poverty is not a good thing.
Very, very important that we divorce poverty from Islam.
And I think it is that poverty that leads to every other issues that we might be having. For example, when we talked about the issue of marriage now, so I think we should leave.
Yes, just like the brother was saying.
And go to the social issues.
Some men don't do what they are supposed to do because they probably don't even have they don't have the
bar
to go out and look for and provide for their family.
And they are procreating.
And they keep on
lots of children. And then you are not able to take care of
them.
They
will say, there's this for that and too.
They will say, is it about not taking care of them?
While I wait for Sheikh Abdussalam, we have, like I said, personally, we still have to go to the issue of mindset.
Completely.
Muslims, the Ummah, to a very large extent, we have entertained a lot of, misunderstanding on many ahadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even on many ayah of the Quran. We have been able to treat some. You mentioned the hadith of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam when he was pairing the Muhajirun and the Ansar together in Medina. I believe that today, from the little that I have seen, we Muslims, the young ones, we are kind of too far from our professionals. There's a very long gap between us.
Yes.
Our professionals, doctors, professors, people that are in, the people that are investors, people that they are successful in their business.
Already.
We do not tap from that knowledge. We started a program where people organize symposiums and bring some people. We are just starting it.
Yes.
So I've started it a long time ago. The way we have prioritized learning our religion.
We should prioritize.
We did not understand that this one too is part of that religion that we neglected. Yes. That's why you say when they want to mention the poverty figures or maybe people out of school children, they are going to be Muslim dominated areas,
which is very sad. Very sad.
Even though sometimes the statistics might be funny in the sense that when you talk about out of school, what is school? Is it the formal school?
And what is literacy?
What is literacy? That's part of it.
Already, also, the society does not consider somebody who can read and write in Arabic to be literate.
Yes.
Even though literacy means anybody that can read and write. It doesn't specify the language. If you can read and write Yoruba, you are literate. If you can read and write Hausa, you are literate. If you can read and write Arabic, you are literate.
Exactly.
So this issue of mentorship that you have mentioned is one that we have to go back to. And I think that there are faults from those who are high up as well as those who are down below. A lot of those who are high up have made themselves so inaccessible to people who are below them. You want to carry your shoulder and say, do you know who I am? There's that problem. And then those who are down below will also say, we have to look for a way to merge these two, to bring closer the gap and create like a mentorship system. Because, it's unfortunate, just like I was saying, that Islam is the religion that, just like Ustaz has said, that defines everything. Everything is defined. And that's why Muslims have to be at the forefront of everything. Muslims need to be at the forefront of health because it is Islam that defines that a non-mahram man should not attend to a non-mahram woman. So some religions don't have that definition. They don't have an issue with it. So it's still a win for them, for instance, if they go to any hospital. But for Muslims, it's difficult. So, and like I was saying earlier, everything we want to put under the rurat, everything we want to put, if you as Muslims have the capacity to build hospitals where such will not happen, and you don't, there's no darura, it becomes fardu kifaya for everybody. Yeah. It is Muslims that will say that before you can slaughter, you have to mention the name of Allah.
Yeah.
Some religions don't have an issue with it. If you like mention of Allah, they will eat. Do you understand? So it means that we have to be at the forefront of food provision, especially slaughtered animals. It is Muslims that will say that you cannot take interests from banks, for instance. Riba is haram. Allah said, prepare for a battle between you and Allah. So that's how serious it is. So it means that, but for a non-Muslim, you say, I'm going to give you a loan without interest. You'll be happy. Who will you give loan without interest that will not be happy? It means that we as Muslims have to be at the forefront of the banking sector. So all of these things, we need to understand that because of the restrictions that our religion places on us, because of the definition, the step-by-step guide on how we are to live our lives, we have to create a society or a system or a lifestyle that will support that.
So we should focus on what matters and stop dabbling into issues that
don't
benefit us.
Let me say something. No, you mentioned about what matters. So today, right, whether you like it or not, the social media has taken over.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I don't think we are utilizing it
the way that we are supposed to. It's terrible.
So you see that a small issue becomes something that we drag for days.
Overblown.
Just a few days ago now about giving zakat al-fitri in cash and giving in
staple
food, a problem.
So those were issues that if they had remained in books, those that will argue about it will have been the scholars or the student of knowledge. Those that are on the street, they won't have any issue with it.
They won't even know it's going on.
But now, because Allah musta'an, we don't. So we need to find, a kind of an avenue where all of these distractions, we are going to cut it off. And we face the real issue. Don't forget,
that are facing us.
Whether you like it or not, you must agree that there are a lot of enemies who don't want Islam to succeed. Unfortunately, many of the actions of the Muslims is
worse than that of the enemies.
In fact, it's assisting the enemy to finish whatever they want to. They are propagating against Islam.
Exactly.
Right? So this part of it.
So I don't know how many minutes we have left, but we need to do a recap of the things that we have said so far. That as an ummah, we must understand the basics. And the basics are simply La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. There is no reason why Allah created us except that we worship Him. So as Muslims, we must look for every means to make that worship easier for us and easier for those who are around us. Because a Muslim is a brother to his fellow Muslim. Whether you are the same mother, whether you are the same tribe, whether you are the same color of skin, wherever you find yourself, you find a Muslim, he is your brother automatically. If he is in any kind of difficulty, then you are in that difficulty.
Together.
The Prophet ﷺ said, a Muslim will help his brother zaliman aw mazluman. If he is doing right, or if he is being oppressed, you help him by saving him from the oppression. If he is the one that is oppressing, you help him by stopping him from the oppression. So we need to come back and understand that as an ummah, nobody can act in silo. Nobody can act as an island. We are a community. And this community is not local, it's a global community.
Whether we like it or not, we need each other.
Of course, there's an hadith that says, Al-Muslim kalbunyan
yashuddu ba'duhum ba'da. A Muslim to another Muslim is like a building. When as bricklayer, you keep one block, you keep another, you put another in the middle so that it will tie them together. Once you remove one block, everything can scatter. So if you feel that, because I am well-to-do, is me and my family alone, you are
Of
going against.
Of course, when he dies, nobody's. Is this family
Who will bury you?
Before we round up, I think we might want to a bit, maybe in the next 3 minutes, just go back to the family units that we talked about.
Very important.
The issue of
very
marriage,
important.
because let's say, still talking about all this issue of finances and everything. If a child grows up to find his father being lazy, it is quite easy for the child to also become very lazy. We have many of our youths nowadays who grew up to meet their fathers sitting at all these
and the mother will go out
and
go and look for.
And others would be the ones hustling in the market. Now you see all these youths, people of 23, 22, 25 years, very early in the morning, especially in this our community. When you go out 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock a.m. in the morning, you find them at betting shops
or assembly
joints where they
different assemblies.
Drink all of this haram
now
shots.
the family unit is very, very important. And one of the things that people who are enemies of Islam are trying to tackle is the family unit. They will start by telling the women that you can be the leader of the house.
Feminism.
You can switch roles, for example. They will start by telling the men that you do not owe any woman anything. If she is not bringing anything to the table, cut her off.
And you start saying, what are you bringing to the table? Who built the table?
Something called, is that a red pillow? What did you
red pillow. So whereas what Islam tells us is that الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم. You are meant to be the sole provider.
It's not just قوامون by power. It is bima and
so you are meant to make that provision for your family. So our Muslim men are not expected to be lazy. The women are meant to be at home, take care of the house, take care of what their husband is going to eat and the children, look after the children. But the men are expected to go outside there and fetch what the family will need.
But
so
now
the issue of the family unit is very, very important.
Very important.
Which should actually be
So another thing that I think will also contribute to what Abdussalam has said is that what are we doing even before we go married or before we get married?
No.
How are we getting married? What are the research that you did about the person that you want to get married to? I am very sure that all this premature divorce that you can see, okay, somebody got married today, in 3 weeks then they are gone. Ask them questions. Where is the counselor? Which counseling unit did you attend?
How did you arrive at that partner?
I don't think even we Muslims prioritize marital counseling. Even when we have many of our brothers and elders in that space already doing wonderful job, writing books. So in order for us to say we want to arrest the issue of premature divorces, we need to first tell ourselves that how are you going to get married? The kind of man you want to marry. Are you the one that is just going to say, I want to marry this person?
What are you looking at before you choose a spouse?
So it's part of it too, because many of us we don't really pay attention to it. Just say, I've accepted. He has this, he has that, and then you have gone ahead. Just the case he was talking about, the sister is just a month old, and that's all. He said the love is
Mallam,
gone.
I think we have talked about a lot of problems and problems. We need to look at solutions also. Maybe in our next podcast.
Of course, we have mentioned solutions. Some of the things that we have
as
said.
we were talking about problems, but
exactly.
You see, we need to stop, like we said earlier, looking at this general thing that one person is going to come and solve our problems. We have to start forming clusters. Not necessarily ideological clusters, but action clusters. That, okay, 10 of us, let's come together and start doing something to tackle the health challenges of Muslims. 10 of us, let's come together and start doing something to tackle the economical challenges of Muslims. 10 of us, let's come together and start doing something to tackle the social challenges of Muslims. Let's have Instagram pages where marital issues are going to be discussed. Let's have Instagram pages where health issues are going to be discussed. Let's have, we need to start forming these clusters. And so if you are listening to us today, we have been discussing about contemporary issues and difficulties facing the Muslim Ummah. And Alhamdulillah, it has been a very, very wonderful discussion. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all for our efforts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uplift the Ummah more than it is currently. So it has been the As-Sirat Podcast. And again, as always, we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefits us, the speakers, with what we have said, and also benefit the listeners with what they have heard. It is not enough for us to hear. It is more important for us to do. It's better for you to hear half and do two than for you to hear one and do half. Let us go and look inwards. How can I play my part in making sure that the Ummah has less challenges? How do I come and be of benefit to Muslims and Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us. Mallam, I'll give you time to do a small recap and then we can call it a day.
Okay, let me start from here. Yesterday, we were at a function yesterday. So when a friend came in and he said, because I'm not going to give any outsider my female children. I'm going to give them to your own sons.
Yes.
So take care of your sons for me.
Now.
So I think this is a very, very important
Beautiful
issue. And I don't think any one of us would actually want to give our daughter's hand in marriage to one of his friends' son who is actually not responsible.
No.
So we should start from our family unit and make sure that we are looking after our household. If everyone takes it upon themselves to look after their household and the well-being and the mindset of their household, then I believe that everything will change.
Mashallah.
One household at a time.
Mashallah.
Just like our former president, change begins with me.
No.
So you should start from ourselves and our family and our community, and then be in the light of Allah Ta'ala. The change is going to, it might not come immediately, but gradually
it will cascade.
It will cascade.
Okay, so like I said, let us change our mindset. It's very, very important. I think mindset is, there's a statement from, I think, maybe one of these former American presidents. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. If you have money, give a Muslim your contract, your carpentry work, your plumbing work. Why don't give a Muslim? That's way to build the ummah. Keep the money of the ummah inside the ummah.
Inna khayra man istajartahu.
So why do we have to, even when we have this that I experienced among, we have wonderful tailors.
But then again,
the issue of trust is there too.
We are rounding up.
The issue of trust is there too, because
I understand that the issue of trust is there. But at the same
The issue
time
of
too,
trust is
we
there.
know that they are very, very good brothers.
So I think to merge what you have said, Muslims should also make sure that they engage in capacity development.
Exactly.
So don't just say that because a Muslim has money, you are entitled to his money. Okay. You are not going to become the best that you can be.
I think it's clear.
So again, we say that all that we have said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala benefit us from it.
Ameen.
And whatever we have said that is wrong, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not hold us to account for it. This is not intentional. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.